Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sableyes. Today we have the first round of the Marion League Cup, our most recent League Cup and our last one at our current location. I'm here with Jordan. How's it going, Jordan?
Very well, thank you, Mitch.
That's good, and we're going to be post-commentating the games from this tournament, because obviously you and I were both there. And if you haven't noticed, Jordan, you're actually playing in this game.
Yeah, it would be pretty hard to commentate this live when I'm one of the players involved, but well, let's see how we go.
Hey, it could work out fine. So obviously, if you like the content that we are producing on the Sableyes, then please like and subscribe. But without any further ado, let's get into it, because James has already started playing against James Goreing, who's a prominent member of the Sableyes South Australia, a very good player. And he's playing kind of a mixture of Passimian, Coco, and Zapdos Jirachi.
Yeah, it does seem to be those two decks kind of meshed together to make some sort of anti-meta deck, I guess you could call it. It's definitely a bit of a scary sight when you're playing Zoroark to see your opponent flip over two Passimians to start the game. I wasn't really too experienced in this matchup, so hey, I guess we'll learn how to play it together now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just go through it. But you've got all the things you need. You've got the energy for the Rockruff to set up, and you've got a draw supporter, so you can't complain about that. Now, I'm seeing this for the first time, Jordan, so I genuinely have no idea how this matchup plays out. One of the critical things that we're going to need to be careful of is obviously that Passimian has the chance to take knockouts on Zoroarks. So one of the big things that Zapdos Jirachi struggles with is that Zoroark can just come through and sweep their entire board. But with Passimian and Coco, then it can cause some problems. So James has got a bit of an advantage there. Of course, Zoroark can still kill a Passimian, so it's not a big deal, but always something to consider.
Yeah, especially with that Passimian that James has on the bench. I believe he's playing a 2-2 split of the Passimians, and the one on the bench basically almost acts as two Passimians against evolution Pokemon, so it effectively gives a plus 120 on a Zoroark when you think about it.
So James here, considering the Guzma, he might be looking to bring up that Rockruff for the energy. He's thinking about it.
That's even stronger as well, because it allows him to bring out his Jirachi and kind of set himself up for the next turn at the same time. He's actually going to target down the Ditto, though.
Chooses the Ditto instead, so obviously not too worried about the Lycanroc.
I think this is very smart overall, just because obviously the weakness we know of with Zapdos Jirachi is that Muck is a card that's often used to shut it down, so James is probably looking to try and negate me from getting Muck out for as long as possible, and killing Ditto is a pretty good way to do that.
That's true, and I guess not super worried about Lycanroc because it can't one-shot a Zapdos, but it can take out the other Pokemon, so a Lycanroc could potentially take 4 prizes on anything on this board apart from the Zapdos itself, which is probably why you're sending it up into the active there, Jordan.
I'd say so, and let's also keep in mind, with only one Passimian on the bench, James actually didn't have the resources he needed to take out that Rockruff, even if he wanted to. He would only be doing 40 damage, since it's not an evolved Pokemon. It would only get the plus 30 from the bench Passimian, so maybe that is what James would have rather do, but his hand just didn't allow it.
Didn't allow him to do it. Didn't get the lightning energy for the Zapdos either. So Jordan's searching through, having a look at that Rainbow Rare Zoroark that caused a bit of confusion on the day. Jordan decided, instead of playing 4 arts like a regular person, he was going to play 3 regular arts and then 1 rainbow just to confuse the judges.
That's just what I owned. It's fine.
It's fine. Bringing down the Lycanroc.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I think it is ideal to try and attack with Lycanroc as much as possible in this matchup, just so that you're not kind of in danger of the Passimian just getting a one-hit KO out of nowhere. It is still possible for Passimian to get off those huge numbers and take out a Lycanroc, thanks to that bench Passimian with the ability doing extra damage to evolutions, but if I can get Muck out at some point during this game, then it certainly will make it hard for James to deal with Lycanrocs.
It will, and it's a bit disappointing that you didn't get to use the ability there. It feels like a bit of a waste, but the thing that you want to knock out is already in the active, so it's not the end of the world. Plus you've got a Zoroark down on the bench, so you can be trading away as well. I feel like it maybe a little baby Zoroark would make you feel a little bit better.
Well, I did just trade into a Nest Ball, so let's see what I get. I might actually choose to go for Grimer instead. We'll see what I actually don't remember which one I target here. Looks like I am thinking of getting that Grimer, which makes sense. Another play I could have made on this turn, instead of targeting this Passimian, I could have maybe gone for Jirachi instead, just knowing that that's a very valuable card on James's board, but obviously since I'm choosing to go for the Passimian route, the Grimer seems like a much better option. Especially since, hey, I already had a Zoroark.
You had a Zoroark in hand, so why would you worry about it? And getting rid of the energy off of the board is a big deal. It's good to get rid of the Jirachi because it slows the consistency down, but you'd rather get rid of those DCE because that DCE could be a knockdown Zoroark.
A card that we typically see in these Passimian decks is Counter Energy, which I don't think James was playing too many Counter Energy, at least not from what I could see, but it is worth noting that typically Passimian does kind of run out of energy options if you are tied in prizes, and we are currently tied in prizes, I believe.
Grabbing the Cynthia there off the Stellar Wish. He's got a couple of things he can do here. He's going to chuck, looks like, he's going to chuck down the Rescue Stretcher just to get that Passimian back. He's got another Jirachi in hand, could play at the Shrine as well, but decides, rather than putting down the extra one, he's just going to shuffle that in. Save that Jirachi for later. Doesn't really need it right now. What he does need is an energy with which to attack.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything he really needs besides just any attack off this turn, whether it's Passimian or Zapdos, or even Tapu Koko. They all seem like fine options in this position. I think the other thing James is looking for is potentially to get a Blitzel down, which it seems like was the first card he drew. Very fortunate.
Yep, lucky him.
Obviously, if I do end up getting Muck next turn, which is quite a possibility, he will need to get a Zeb Striker if he wants to keep his consistency up.
Yeah, so see him considering it here. He's got the Escape Rope as well. He's
One
thinking
thing
about
that
some
I
other stuff.
do see is that he doesn't have, though, is an energy card, as we were just saying.
Yeah, big problem. So he plays the Escape Rope, which is going to force you to retreat into something that's maybe not super optimal.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm assuming that he's getting an attack off, so I'm really trying to just bring something up that can potentially take a hit, but it's very nice to see that
nothing
he's
from James.
happy to just pass there. Oh, I wouldn't say happy.
Boy, he has to do this. He can't just sit there and wait for the round to end. But he does get the 30 damage from the Shrine, so 10 on each of your GXs. Shrine, obviously a very powerful card in this matchup, because you can see if you play down all of your GX cards that you can, that's 50 damage a turn with spread is quite decent.
Yeah, it definitely stacks up. You see me eyeing off the Mallow here. I might be considering trying to search my deck for a replacement stadium, knowing that I don't want that Shrine to stay in play for too long.
Yep. And also the fact that you've played this game before might suggest that that's probably something that you're looking to do.
I do believe that the stadium... I don't remember everything that happens in this game, obviously. I do think the stadium is one of the key cards that I'd be looking for at this point.
Looking for that Muck as well definitely is going to be a good choice.
I think that seems like a pretty strong Mallow to me.
That's a good one, because it gets rid of all the things that could possibly hurt you.
Didn't quite see what I took there, but...
So that one on the field there, that's the Alolan Muck.
I see Alolan Muck.
Shut off the Passimian and the Jirachi.
Well, I'm still debating if it's worth getting rid of that stadium. It definitely is good to get rid of the stadium because the Lycanroc is the main reason why you don't want it to stay in play too long. You really want those Lycanrocs to be taking at least one hit, and if Passimian ever gets a one-hit KO on a Lycanroc, then you're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, that's problems, and it does appear that you've gone for those two cards. So down comes the Alolan Muck, and attach the DCE to retreat. Seems pretty good.
Another option I potentially could have gone for there instead of the stadium was maybe just to get a switch and save the double colours.
Yep.
But both options seem fine to me.
Both are fine, and you've taken 2 prizes, so you can't complain about that. But unfortunately, it looks like James has the replacement stadium in hand. It's just a matter of whether he plays it down now or whether he plays it after he's played a card before that, because I imagine he's not going to leave the defensive field for too long. It is.
It does look like he's going to go straight for that Shrine of Punishment.
Chuck it straight down, wasted Mallow, but I guess you saved yourself 10 Shrine kicks, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't say that's particularly what I was hoping for, but another thing that James does run is the Thunder Mountain Prism, so he may have wanted to potentially hold the stadium and go for that instead, but right now I think just any attack to try and at least whittle down this Lycanroc a bit is all James really needs to go for.
This Lycanroc's already taken 2 prizes and it's threatening to take another one. So James really needs an attack off and misses the energy.
If he has a way to search for Zeb Striker, then he could potentially see another 4 cards here.
Yeah, so still has the Stellar Wish. That Jirachi isn't asleep yet.
Although the Muck is in place, so we'll actually block the
I've got to pay attention to the game, don't I?
It certainly helps.
That's alright. I'm lucky I'm not James, or otherwise I would have got a game loss for looking at the top 5 cards.
Yep, that seems like a bad thing to do.
Don't do that.
But yeah, it's certainly going to be a tough position for James here if he doesn't have access to Zeb Striker, and I don't see any way for him to get it. I think, was that just a pass maybe?
Yeah, it looks like it might be, and that's... he's going to retreat to the Zapdos, which probably isn't bad. It can potentially tank a hit here.
That is true. It is harder for Lycanroc to take out a Zapdos. I could, of course, just use Dangerous Rogue if I really want to get it out of the way.
Yeah, well, you could rogue this for 230 damage with resistance.
Yep, and to be fair, there's not really a better target for Rogue. It's not really like I need to save it for late game.
There's not. I feel like, well, you've got the Kukui in hand,
that
so
also works.
That'll do the job. The other thing that you might have considered, I can't see your hand exactly, but I think there's a Guzma in there. The other one you could have considered might have been the Guzma to kill the Butzel with the Zoroark, might have given you a little bit more of a chance of James bricking since the Muck's in play.
Yeah, that's certainly a good option as well. I do have an energy in hand, so I could pull that off with an energy retreat, but this does allow me to kind of set my board up a little more and keep an energy in play if I do end up deciding to do that.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't need...
Wait,
if
looks
you don't,
like I'm playing a Guzma here.
Oh boy. Oh boy, that's a big old game loss there, Jordan, where you've double supported there. Or did you, maybe you traded the Kukui instead of...
Oh yeah, I definitely did.
Maybe
you're right.
Because I remember in one of the games that I played against Ryan later on in the tournament, he did a similar thing and just put the Kukui straight in the bin.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm just like, I have to remember that he traded that so that we don't think that he got the game lost.
It's a good thing you picked up on that, because I thought I screwed up for a second there. I was like, I don't remember making this mistake.
I can't think of what... Here's the thing, we're struggling because we don't have the audio from the event. Now, I'm sure Jordan, in the moment, would have gone and trade, and it would have made a lot of sense, but that's okay. You did the thing that I expected that you would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taking out the Blitzel there definitely seems like a fine play.
Exactly.
James is still playing draw supporters every turn at least. He's not completely bricking. He's finally finding an energy, so... Because I left that Zapdos in play, he is going to be able to at least start attacking now.
Attacking with that Zapdos. But the thing is, he missed the energy for the Passimian. So he can't get the knockout on this Zoroark, which means that you're going to be able to take the return knockout on the Zapdos. And he's half hitting the Zoroark, which means that the Passimian doesn't get the full value. He'll need to pull off a Guzma play to get the full value with the weakness, but...
Yeah, that double colors was certainly a pretty big whiff there. Due to the Shrine of Punishment damage and the Choice Band, it would have actually been a knockout just with the two Passimians on the bench and the Choice Band, so definitely a big miss from James there. It would have, at the very least, kept him in a decent position had he found that double colorless.
Well, and that's the thing is, James has whiffed the energy that he wanted 3 turns in a row, and if he had have got it then, he still would have been in a pretty good shot. But now, it's going to be very, very tough to come back, especially since Zoroark obviously has all those lovely consistency cards, and this one here, Acerola,
seems pretty good.
Is pretty good too.
I wonder if this is a turn where I'm gonna.
This is the Rogue turn.
I don't remember using Rogue, but I don't remember not using it either. So
well, you don't
we'll
remember.
See what happens.
You don't remember not playing Kukui, so
this is true.
Anything could be happening.
Hey, maybe this isn't even me. Maybe you actually recorded a different game.
Here's the
I have
thing,
no idea.
You're not even going to do the Rogue. You're going to bring out the Passimian on the bench, which is perfectly reasonable. Get the one shot on this. Set up another Lycan for next turn so that you can still Rogue if you need to.
This definitely seems like a fine play, especially since it removes that Choice Band from the board. So if James is looking to get off, say, a Guzma play onto a Zoroark, that's just one extra card he's going to need.
Exactly, and you're hitting the power pad here, so Guzma and Acerola straight back into the deck. And there's the knockout. And how many prizes left? Two prizes left?
2 to 5 it seems like. So if James had gotten that knockout on Zoroark last turn, it would have been 3 to 3. It would have been very close.
Very close.
If you think about the chance of James, if he is able to get a GX knockout every turn for the rest of the game, and I get a non-GX knockout for every turn of the rest of the game, I am still going to be just ahead here. So James really needs to find a way to kind of make his Pokemon survive at least once this game to be back into it.
And the big problem is that no matter who he attacks with, there is a knockout on the board because a DCU will kill a Zapdos on either a Lycanroc or a Zoroark at the moment. There's the double Electro Power play.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to have too much trouble finding KOs at this point.
No.
There is a big knockout on a Lycanroc actually. Double Electro Power plus the Shrine damage is exactly enough to take out the Lycanroc. I do remember that play kind of coming out of nowhere a little bit, but hey, I've got the Lycanroc on the bench ready to go.
Exactly. All is prepared for.
Maybe we're finally going to see the Rogue. What do you reckon, Reg? Is this the turn?
I don't know. I don't think so. The fact that you're suggesting it might be is maybe it's a clue because you were there. You know, you were playing the cards. But it seems like a nice value play is attaching the fighting or the DCE to this Lycanroc and taking the knockout on the Zapdos. You might even consider if you were doing that, you just attach the fighting and keep the DC in a DCE in hand for next turn.
This is true. I could, of course, attach the DC to make sure I've got access to Claw Slash next turn, but it looks like I'm just going for the fighting.
Yep.
And I think I'm tossing up playing a Judge here.
Yep.
It is a bit of a debatable play because obviously Double Colors is pretty much the only card that I need next turn to win the game if everything goes ideally. Of course, I'm trying to limit James's options, make sure that he can't make any major comeback play, but I think maybe in hindsight it would have been better to hold that hand and just make sure I've got the Double Colorless.
Well, the judge does put James in a position where he's less likely to have the things he needs to attack. I didn't quite see your hand there, Jordan, but you do have still have trades in play.
I do. So I think it's probably a fine play either way. I don't think I'm too worried.
Yeah.
Look, there is the double
trade
colorless.
into the DCE anyway, so nothing lost there.
Finally see the dangerous rogue.
There's the rogue for 180 on that Zapdos, and now James is in big trouble.
He is on 3 prizes, so he can at least make the game look close if he takes a big knockout here.
Yeah,
but
get the knockout and maybe shuffle some of your cards in. But yeah, it's not looking good, especially knowing, Jordan, that you've got the DCE in hand means that there needs to be a shuffle effect played this turn for us to maybe see James win this match.
Yeah, it definitely seems like James really needs an attacker that can survive a Riot Beat, and I really just don't think that his list has anything that's, especially under Mucklock, that can kind of fit that category of taking a hit.
He does get the Choice Band and the Electro Power, so he could potentially... Well, I can't see how much damage is on that Lycanroc. I don't know whether there's actually a chance, but nope, he's just going to pick him up, which is fair enough. I don't think that there was going to be a way that he could get out of that one. Even without knowing that you had the DCE, there's still a pretty bad board position to be in. Better to just shuffle up and hope that you can win the next one and take it to 3.
Yeah, I think if you were going to play on there, you would at least need to take a knockout on that Lycanroc that turn to have a small chance of winning. Hope I miss the double colorless and then maybe get a lucky win.
Yeah, pick something up out of nowhere. But even then, the lucky win would need several Passimians on the bench and a Guzma to kill a Zoroark. So
it would.
It would have been tough, but that's okay. It's a very good deck, though. A good deck choice on the day, considering the meta. Now, the day whilst you and James are shuffling up.
Yes.
We'll talk about what was kind of played at Marion League Cup. Lots of Zapdos on the day. There was maybe 4 or 5 of them. I'm not sure how many. There's plenty of Zoroark as well.
Yeah, they were definitely the 2 most represented decks overall. In previous Adelaide events, we've seen lots of Malamar make a showing, but there was really little to no Malamar played at this event, Mitch.
Yeah, I think it's probably comes down to the fact that obviously Adelaide is a reasonably small community, so everyone knows everyone, and we've been playing at events all year. Everyone rocks up with Ultra Malamar all the time, and people have gone, do you know what beats Ultra Malamar? Zapdos. And so they've decided to play it. Everyone's played Zapdos on the day. So yeah, only one Ultra Malamar showed up. And then of course there was one super spicy deck, Jordan, which we'll see only in top 4.
I'm looking forward to it.
Played by the greatest Pokemon master of his generation.
I imagine so.
The most arrogant man in the world. Let's start the
game. Going into game 2.
Just get me back on track, please.
So, James opening, Jirachi is definitely a little better than last game, especially since he is going first. And Lily turn 1 is a fairly small Lily, actually.
Yeah, only for 3, wasn't it? But gets the Stellar Wish, so he can still go looking for stuff.
I mean, when you think about it, is there anything super important that James really needs to find on the first turn?
Ultimately, not really. Like, it would be good to find the skateboard, which he found. Just so that he can put that on the Jirachi next turn to get out of the active. But with all of his attackers being 1 energy attackers, it's easy enough to do.
Basic 1 energy attackers means you can kind of do pretty much anything out of any hand as long as you've got the cards you need.
Yeah.
And I'd say the most important thing for him to get down turn 1 is probably that Blitzel, so he's succeeded in doing that.
It's the only card that he needs to have on his bench on turn 1 in order to have it evolve, and so having it down there is pretty good.
It looks like James's hand is actually clogged with a whole bunch of Lilies and Cynthias, so he's probably just going to have to shuffle that all away and look for a better hand next turn. Hopefully he can actually find some energy this game, Mitch.
Yeah, hopefully, because if he does, I feel like if he finds energy every turn and can get attacks off, even if he only half hits. The nature of his deck against yours means that there's a likelihood that he's going to be successful in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, obviously Zoroark does have access to Muck to make it a little harder for James to get those consistency options, but in the end, if James just gets the cards he needs every turn, he's probably going to just out-damage this deck.
The consistency options just means that you're more likely to find them. So, if you just have them in hand, you just have them in hand and you win.
That's what I would do personally.
Yeah,
but I don't know about James.
It's better to have it in hand. Yeah, I don't want to be risking drawing cards. I just want to have them.
No, so a much better Lily for me turn 1, grabbing 6 cards, and it looks like I am prioritising getting that Grimer straight away once again.
Chose the Grimer over a second Zoroark or a Rockruff, but Jordan being Jordan,
I got them
the
both anyway.
extra cards come down. There they are. They were the last 2 off that Lily as well.
Looks like I've actually got 2 Pokemon Communication maybe in hand.
Yep, and that looks like either a Muck or a Giratina in your hand as well. I'm not sure if
I
you're
actually don't run Giratina, so it's probably a Muck.
So it's probably a Muck. So, literally the perfect turn. The only thing that could have been better is an attachment to that Rockruff. But knowing the matchup now, you're probably not as worried, because Zoroark can just get a one-shot knockout on all of the things that James could possibly bench.
Yeah, Zoroark is still a great attacker in this matchup, even with Passimian. If you have a look at his board right now, he does have 4 Pokemon in play that are not Passimian, so his Passimian damage output is actually quite limited at the moment, and if I'm able to get Muck down to kind of block his Passimian abilities, he's really going to struggle to get damage off at the early portions of this game.
Yeah, so obviously James planning on attacking with the Zapdos. And he has the Thunder Mountain there. Does he have an energy in hand? Doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think so.
So he might need to go for the Thunder Mountain here just to get the knockout on this Ditto.
Seems pretty important. It's almost like the only energy out that he can find off of a Jirachi in this specific list.
He's really considering it, but he does go for it in the end. Has the retreat. So now he is good to go, and he can just shuffle that hand away. No need to play any of the rest of those cards.
Certainly looks like a lot of supporters in his hand. What he did have just then, he was holding an Electro Power, so if he chose to play that, he could have potentially gone for a double Colorless to Flying Flip and take out this Ditto while spreading a lot of damage. Maybe that's what James was considering with not choosing the Thunder Mountain, but hey, I think if you can take the guaranteed knockout on this Ditto, that's pretty important.
Yeah, obviously the Flying Flip would put him in a very good position, but that's a big gamble to make. You've only got 4 DCE in deck, so chances are you won't hit one. Just watch him get it the first card. There it is. There's the second card that he drew. So
yep. At the same time, though, it is nice to be able to save your double Colossus for when they're really important on the Passimian.
Absolutely, and he's got 2 Electro Power in hand for next turn.
So hey, he can still make that play right now if he wants to. He could Electro Power double Colossus and just take this Ditto knockout. But
he could, but no, he's just going to hang on to it, which is fair enough. Get rid of the Ditto guarantee and make it appear as though he didn't really get anything off of that Cynthia, which can sometimes be quite smart. Just trying to fox your opponent.
So I've got a pretty decent follow-up turn right now. If I'm able to find a double Colossus, I can at least start to trade evenly with James, and obviously I think I'm going to be getting this Muck into play, which might slow him down. But with that Blitzel on the bench, he can kind of just get that extra consistency he needs throughout the game at any time.
Yeah, so because the Blitzer went down, the Zeb Striker is a real threat, drawing 4 cards, not a basic, so it means that you can still go ahead and use it. But you never know, you could just miss the thing. I'm not sure if you have it in hand or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Another interesting factor is, in theory, I might actually not want to be taking knockouts on these Pokemon that aren't Passimians, because right now, if those 4 Pokemon stay in play, Passimian is all of a sudden not much of a threat.
Yeah.
So if I just chose to keep targeting Passimians over and over again, then that's potentially another strategy I could use to kind of get around Passimian's weaknesses.
This is true. Playing a few things down here before we go for the Muck. Obviously, Tapu Lele will be shut off if you play down a Lola Muck, so doing a nice little discard then stretcher play to get your Mallow down. Seems like a solid one.
Pretty funny play there where I was holding Rescue Stretcher and Tapu Lele. I wanted to play Tapu Lele, but I also wanted to communication it away for another Pokemon, so I actually communicationed the Tapu Lele in my hand to get the Zoroark, and then stretch it for a Tapu Lele back to actually be able to use both.
Yeah, so interesting choice, but does the deed, and here we have the Mallow for 2 cards, which I personally missed and was not paying attention.
Well, I think we're about to find out what they are right now,
Yeah,
Mitch.
we'll trade for them.
Seems like a Nest Ball and a double Colorless. Now,
But,
some people might be wondering, why would I get Nest Ball instead of the actual Pokemon I wanted to get? Well, of course, Nest Ball does fit an extra card out of deck, so may as well, if you don't need Nest Ball anymore, get that out of your deck.
Yep, and you've got the chance to use it. You've got a free spot, so you may as well go for it. Means that your next trades, next turn, presuming that you don't lose this Zoroark, can be more effective. Because really, next turn you're just looking for more Zoroarks, and maybe an energy if you don't get knocked out. See how you go. Looking pretty good.
Definitely seems pretty important here, getting that Muck into play on the second turn, really limiting James's options for both Jirachi and his damage output with Passimian. Looking at James's hand, I'm actually not sure if I see a supporter, but he does have Ultra Ball to be able to find Zebstrika.
That's true.
He's not out of it at the moment.
That is true. And he actually discards the Jirachi and the Switch, so it is lucky that that Muck came down, because there were 2 Stellar Wishes that turn that were coming your way.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
So, it seems like the apt time to bring down the Alolan Muck to shut those abilities off.
So I wonder if this is the turn where James really just wants to dig hard and try and get a knockout with Passimian finally, because he hasn't been able to take a big kill yet this set.
Yeah, so he does go for the Zebstrika, needs that extra consistency. Obviously not having a supporter in hand is a problem. He just needs to find, what does he need to find here? What's the maths on this Zoroark?
Well, with only 2 bench spaces available, I believe he needs obviously 2 more Passimians as well as the double colors to pull off the attack. And that will be doing 140 damage. Then he would need a Choice Band and a Shrine of Punishment. So I think he actually needs the perfect hand. And the fact that he bet Zapdos tells me...
it's now not possible.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be going for that. He's actually going to go for Escape Rope, which is pretty interesting because I don't really have a great Pokemon to promote here, knowing that I'm about to get hit by a Zapdos.
Yeah, so you're eyeing off that Rockruff. I guess you've already got one in play. You don't want to put the Tapu Lele there, and you are holding another Rockruff in hand.
Yeah, I think the only realistic options there were the Rockruff or the Tapu Lele. The Tapu Lele probably takes the hit a little better than Rockruff, but you know, there's the risk that what if he gets double Electric Power?
Well, exactly,
and
he's got one in hand at least, so you know, it's an interesting choice to make. Giving away the Rockruff when you lose the prize, but it's not the end of the world. James eyeing up here, what's he going to do?
I think he's deciding if... Oh, he had 2 Electric Power actually, so...
Well, there you go.
I think I made the right call there, promoting the Rockruff.
So let's see, the 4 cards that he gets off of the sprint.
Still no supporter, unfortunately.
No supporter again.
But as long as he keeps the Zebstrika for next turn, he will be able to just continuously sprint.
This is true, so it won't be a problem.
And we do actually see another Blitzel in James's hand, indicating he's probably running a 2-2 line. So if he does choose to bench that here, that kind of makes him a little safer if I do kill the Zebstrika. But now, once again, his
Passimians aren't doing the job.
His board is full with Pokemon that aren't Passimian, and that is the scary Pokemon in this matchup. That is the reason why this might be a little tougher than a regular Zapdos Jirachi list. If he's only got 1 Passimian down, it's really no different to any of the Zapdos Jirachi deck.
For sure. Go for the trade away that Rockruff?
No, I think it looks like I opted to go for the communication instead.
No, that was definitely a trade. Maybe that was just the active, the Rockruff that came.
Oh yeah, it might have been.
I'm very confused as to what just happened, but that's okay. It's not like we're paying very close attention.
It looks like I do choose to go for the Zebstrika, and I'm actually playing the Professor Kukui.
Yeah, and you're playing it this time because
yes.
You put it on the field.
See? That's what it looks like when I play a Professor
There
Kukui.
There you go. So now we know, for future reference, when we play a supporter, we actually play it on the field and don't just slap it straight in the discard.
So I'm deciding if I want to put this Rockruff down. Obviously I don't have to because of the Professor Kukui. I have the knockout regardless. Let's see if James is going to be a little stuck here now, potentially, though, without that Zebstrika.
Yeah,
he's going to need to find another one very quickly.
He has supporters in hand, but it looks like they might be Guzma.
What can he do with a Guzma here? He can take a knockout on either the Zoro or the Rockruff, which is pretty strong. He can bench the other Passimian and take like a half hit on a Lele or Lycanroc, or maybe even try and trap my Mock active. I don't think there's a lot of different lines of play here. What do you reckon you would do, Mitch?
For me personally, with my hand that I'm seeing here, I haven't seen James's deck, I haven't done a deck search, but if I'm stuck for supporters, it might just be the Zoroark, which is what James is going for.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Take the
prize, give yourself a chance, because you never know. You get a supporter off of that prize, you can you can really turn the game around. Going for the Nest Ball here.
It's always nice to kind of limit the number of Zoroarks your opponent gets out, so I'm guessing that I'm going to be trying to get a replacement Zoroark very quickly here.
But Oh,
There
it was
it
right
is.
at the very... It was right at the top. I was like, oh, Jordan is not going to have any more. But no, there's one there.
I think I actually saw 2 at the top. Right.
2 at the top.
So,
Oh,
well,
jeez.
little bit scared right at the end there.
Yeah,
but
that's
seems
always
like it worked out.
that's always a nerve-wracking search when you're looking for something that's right at the top of the deck. You're like, oh, am I going to find it?
So, one thing that kind of I didn't like about the first game was how long that shrine stayed in place. I think I discarded the stadium pretty early, and then my second devoured field got replaced straight away. So you can see it in my hand, but I really don't want to kind of waste it on the Thunder Mountain, even though you'd think that's the better stadium. For me personally, I was more scared of Shrine than the Thunder Mountain. So
Yeah.
I'm holding onto that stadium for as long as possible, as you can see here.
Lily for 2 gets you into the 2 energy you need to attack with Lycanroc next turn.
Seems pretty good to me.
So, again, Jordan, the master of top decking, gives himself all the cards he needs to answer next turn. Where you've killed a couple of non-Passimians, so there's the potential here for James to get himself a couple of prizes. But
Yeah.
he still needs a few cards, doesn't he?
And like, it seems so far that I've been dominating this game pretty well. I've been taking away a lot of James's options and kind of mitigating his attacks, but if you have a look at the prize count, I think it's actually even right now.
So it's even though Jordan has appeared in control and James has bricked multiple times,
It looks like he did
He
top
top
deck
decked
a
that
draw
supporter,
support,
so
which is
he-
very strong for him.
get into the cards that he needs. But yeah, it's just a testament to how quickly this game can turn around. And James is eyeing off the Guzma here. He might just be going for that little Zoroark again.
Seems
Yes,
fine.
chooses to do it.
Because it's not that unrealistic for James to just pull off a big knockout on Zoroark next turn,
Yeah,
and then the
win
game's
game.
over.
So 2 prizes left. Just moving them across for some reason. Showing them off to someone, I guess. I don't know.
Something very interesting in James's prizes, it appears. I have a feeling that that might be 2 Passimians, Mitch, because we saw a nest ball
Nest
fail
ball
at the
for
end of the
nothing.
game.
Yeah, that's true. So that's a bit of a problem.
So if it is 2 Passimian, and I'm going to be honest, I do remember him revealing the prizes at the end of the game.
And they
there's
were
a good,
2 Passimian.
There is a good chance that it was 2 Passimians,
Oh, and that's isn't that just horrible? You've got 3 cards. You need 2 of them, right? You only need 2. You're like, okay, I could deal with 1 being prized, and you know what? It's fine. I'll take prizes throughout the game, but
Exactly.
no, the 2 cards that you need, both prizes, and they're the last 2 prizes as well.
And right now, I'd be thinking it's pretty likely that James could win the game with just one of those Passimians in his hand next turn.
Yeah, so you're sitting there probably just going, oh my god, I hope this doesn't end badly. You put yourself in a position where he does need to Guzma, so there's no...
I am lucky enough to be able to pull off the Lycanroc there, which is a big deal. James has used Guzma the last few turns in a row, so he's going to be running a lot of outs to bring up my Zoroark now. And
Yeah.
I am still on 2 prizes though, so he gets two shots of this.
That's true. You got the Tapu Koko Prism. If only he had seen a Lightning Energy all game, if they'd been able to keep him on, then might have been a chance to do something.
Obviously,
But
the Tapu Koko Prism isn't active until I pull off until he pulls off the Muck KO. But the Fly Flip here actually makes a lot of sense because right now James is just looking for 2 prizes. So rather than just hitting into the active and falling prey to Acerola, he's kind of trying to soften everything up. So next turn he's got the best chance of being able to knock out whatever I've got active.
yeah, because with 2 prizes in play, you have to take 2 turns, whereas James can potentially do it in 1. Now the likelihood is that you're going to take 2 knockouts, so James has to win the game next turn.
And with that Electro Power from that Flying Flip, he actually did do 80 damage with Flying Flip onto the active, which is quite a lot. That's as much as the Zapdos does, but
Yeah.
he also spread damage on my board.
He did. And here's the thing, right? We haven't seen a Shrine. He hasn't drawn any energy. He hasn't drawn supporters when he needs them.
I mean,
And he's still in a position where he could win the game next turn.
this is true. He's certainly got a couple energy down now. He hasn't needed energy, luckily, this game, due to how long that Thunder Mountain stayed in play. In hindsight, maybe I probably should have played that Devoured Field much earlier, due to how much work that Thunder Mountain has put in so far, but overall, I think it wouldn't probably change the result of the game too much.
Alright, so we see here, you're thinking about it, and
Going for the Twilight Eyes.
decide to remove the energy.
I think what I might be doing here is trying to take out all of James's energy on the board at once.
Yeah, which is fair enough, and the Guzma looks like it's coming down. Playing it very slowly, taking a knockout on that Passimian.
I wonder if I'm going to do it with the Zoroark or if I'm going to retreat back into the Lycanroc. I actually don't remember what I go for here. I feel like, having the Lycanroc in the active seems pretty bad because it's got 80 damage already. But the Zoroark's weak to fighting, so it almost seems awkward either way.
And you're not to know that James's last 2 prizes are probably double Passimian.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to bank on it, of course, but attaching to the bench potentially. Oh, is there an energy on the active?
There's an energy on the active already.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yep. Attaches the DCE to the muck just in case the Guzma stall play happens.
Yeah, I think at this point I'm looking at my hand thinking the only way I don't win next turn is either if he wins the game or if he Guzma stalls muck.
And
yep,
there
there's the 2 Passimian.
There's the 2 Passimians. Oh, well, what a way to lose the first round. That's so unfortunate, but hey, Jordan goes 1-0. And into round 2, we'll see what happens with the rest of the tournament. Thanks, Jordan, for being here with us to talk through this game, and we'll be back with you with more from Marion League Cup very, very soon.
Sounds exciting.
Thanks very much. If you like the stuff, like, comment, or subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.